Welcome to Amelia's story. Today we will share Girlfriend Knows Best Part 1. For more interesting stories, please subscribe to my channel and join Patreon for the exclusive content. I was awakened in the morning by Mother Robot. She actually had a bright yellow dress picked out for school with matching plastic pants, rumba panties, huge yellow bow for my hair, and bright yellow full petticoat. In a few minutes I was placed in a full outfit disposable diaper this time, which felt so much nicer than those thick cloth ones. I knew I had to make lunch for Bobby, and this would be a good opportunity to look around the kitchen for the key. I was going to make a peanut butter jelly sandwich, chips and cookie for Bobby. As I opened up one of the cabinets, I saw my toolkit way up in the top of the cabinet. As I grabbed the chips from the shelf just below, I was able to get the key out of the toolbox. When I turned around, Mommy Robot was right there leaning over to shut the cabinets. She stared at me and asked me next time to get my help, Princess. Phew, she did not see me grab the key. As I was making Bobby's lunch, I was able to squeeze the key into my dolly. I asked my Mommy Robot if I could bring my dolly to school. She agreed and placed some doll clothes into my backpack. Step 1 of my mission is done. I was actually happy until the doorbell rung and I knew who it was. My Mother Robot asked me to finish up my cereal and grab my backpack and Bobby's lunch for him, which I did. He looked at me and said, "You look just like a princess." I thanked him with a smile and he grabbed my hand. We walked out the door and again stayed as close to him as possible in order to not get hurt. With my other arm I had my dolly in my hands. He told me that when we play house that my dolly could be our baby, and with that I smiled and said yes, that would be nice. He then reached in his pack bag and gave me a box that was wrapped. I opened it up and it was a bracelet with his name on it. Bobby told me that it was mine to show everyone I belonged to him. I knew at this point I had to kiss him and thank him with a huge smile, otherwise my future plan would be in jeopardy. I put the bracelet on and we continued to walk to school hand in hand. I knew from my talks he wanted me to show this off to everyone in school. Once we got into the classroom, I started to show my bracelet to all the girls, including Mary. They giggled for a long time and mocked me somewhat, but they all did hug me and say congratulations, even Mary. The boys laughed and flipped my dress up and mocked me as Bobby stood by and laughed. The bell rang and proceeded to submit a note from my robot mom to the teacher. She told the class that I was potty training and they all needed to help me. Class started again as girls and boys separated just like the day before. This time we went to the clothing area where we taught the right way to fold clothes. Soon I asked the teacher if I could go potty, but she ignored 3 requests, as did the other girls, like I was not saying anything. Soon after that I wet myself. After several times wetting myself, the teacher checked me and asked why I did not tell her or the classmates I had to go. I just shake my head as I knew I would have done any good to say I did. She then made me sit in a wet diaper all am for punishment. We went outside for a quick recess and we just played a few games of jump rope, which was really hard with a soaking diaper. Bobby pinches my ass on his way to play kickball with his friends. The pinch actually really hurt and left a nice mark. The bell rang and we were back in class. This time we were learning how to dust correctly. After dusting, we went into mopping the floor. You can clearly see a theme of domestic learning for the girls and book studies for the boys. Math was the only study we did together. The next class was fashion, where we instructed on what to wear and what matches with what, it just dresses and lingerie now, but the book we got goes into a lot more. The title of the book was How to Look Good for Your Man. Finally the bell rang and the teacher with the other girls took me into the back room to change me. This time Mary changed me, which was embarrassing as the teacher guided her through the whole process. The rumba panties, like yesterday, were too wet to put back on, so bright yellow plastic pants over my flowered disposable diapers was what I was going to be wearing under my dress. When we went outside to eat, I sat with the girls when Bobby came over and asked me what I was doing. I responded to him eating my lunch. He told me to get him his lunch now and lay it out. Get him a drink and then I can sit down next to him to eat my lunch. I quickly did what he said again, worried that something might go wrong as the confused look was on his face. I had his lunch laid out very nicely for him and sat right next to him, placed my dolly gently on the table. He hugged me and said, "Good girl, you did a good job." Once he was done, he told me to clean his place as he went off to play with his friends. He then yelled to me to clean up after all the lunches from the other boys, which I did with a smile. A few minutes before lunch ended, he came over to me when I was sitting with the other girls and grabbed my hand and told me it is time to play house. He guided me to the playhouse area and I pretended to play house with him. We did this and we interacted with my dolly, which he seemed to like. The bell rang as he held my hand and guided me to our desk, and we held hands the entire time through math. Afterwards we separated and the girls and I went to ballet class. This time I said I need to go potty and I was rushed by Mary to girls' room where I went and flushed. This time all the girls in the class clapped and said, "Great job, Sissy D." Mary helps me with putting my diaper back on with plastic pants. I thanked her. We were actually starting to form a little bond, almost like she was acting like my big sister. I knew things went well if I did what she said. Quick learning experience for me. Ballet class, we were able to see one of outfits for next week's recital. It was as fluffy and frilly pink as any outfit I have ever seen. The other girls were so amazed by it and could not wait to try them on. Our instructor told all of us that it would take one more day to get all the outfits, as mine took a little longer to get special fitting for the area where I wear my diaper. The girls just smiled and told me once you are potty trained you can get a new one. We worked hard on dances we needed to learn for the recital. Mary, of course, was the lead and the rest of us were behind her. I knew I really had to get this down as I did not want to stick out. I actually asked Mary to help me figure a couple of things out. She was going to come over the house over the weekend to help me. In the back of my head I was saying to myself, I will be long gone and you will have a bad memory. Bell rang and we headed back to class. Once in class I sat down at the desk. Bobby grabbed my hand to hold it, and the teacher was making announcements about our recital next week and football starting in 2 weeks for the boys. She was putting out a sign-up sheet for cheerleaders. She congratulated me for going potty and class clapped. Once the bell rang, class was over. Bobby picked up my backpack and handed it to me as I put it on. He took my hand as we walked out of class. He was starting to get feelier, like touching me in places he had not before. Nothing alarming, but I started to notice it. He was hugging me more during the walk and many times flipping my dress up, saying nice, and firmly press my back. Again, at this point nothing really alarming, but I was not sure how far he was going to go and if I could stop him. This time we stopped at the playground on the way home, and he picked me up to swing again and push me for a while. It actually felt a little freeing at times if I was not in this weird situation. He finally picked me up, held me this time, and gave me a long kiss, longer than ever before. As we walked home, all the talk was about the future, like at some point I was going to be his wife and was good at all the classes I was taking. I just smiled and said yes, that would be great and how I would love it. I figured I would be out of here soon, and sooner the better, before this situation got out of hand. That's all for now. Please subscribe us and join Patreon for exclusive content.